Aloha, Reject Nation. I'm Greg Alba.
I'm John Humphrey.
We're going to watch from WatchMojo.com, the greatest YouTube channel in the world. Top 10 decisions that ruined the movie. The thumbnail is a photo of Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool from X-Men Origins Wolverine. I hope we talk about that. I haven't stopped talking about that for like a decade. There's a top reward tier video request from a man named Andrew Hayes. Homie Andrew.
We can only assume the filmmakers and studios had the best intentions, but the results did not meet expectations at all. Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 movie decisions that backfired.
The greatest teacher of failure is...
For this list, we're looking at decisions that were made in a film's production that alienated audiences. Since these decisions figure heavily into their respective movie plots, there is a spoiler warning now in effect.
To get the state of things...
Whoa!
If you'd
I
like
want to
to
get that
read
dark
it,
universe
check out the
spoiled.
full song at the link below.
That's cool. We should ask all our friends to make songs for our reactions to play over.
That's a good way to support, create a creative community.
This part's probably cut out of the video.
Sound Mojo.
Number 10, Sewing Deadpool's Mouth Shut, X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Did this was this what ruined this movie though? I feel like this movie was already ruined.
As far as rollouts go,
thing
Deadpool's
that just
debut in
topped it
X-Men Origins went less than smoothly. In a move that fundamentally undermined the character's appeal, the Merc with the Mouth's mouth was sewn shut for the final act.
Striker finally figured out how to shut you up.
Why? Reportedly, the head of Fox thought it was cheesy for Deadpool to talk during the film's climactic showdown. Though Ryan Reynolds was unhappy with how Deadpool was portrayed in Origins, the studio effectively made him play this version of Deadpool or risk giving up the chance to play the character in the future.
Thank you, sir. You look really nice today. It's green. Brings out the seriousness in your eyes. Oh my god, you ever shut up, pal? No, I'm awake.
Clearly, Fox didn't know what they had with Deadpool at the time, but fortunately, they didn't completely ruin the image of the character,
Ryan Reynolds
allowing
knew.
Deadpool to get a much-needed do-over in 2016.
Oh, hello. I know, right? Whose balls did I have to fondle to get my very own movie? I can't tell you, but it does rhyme with Pulverine.
Number 9, making a live-action adaptation, The Lion King.
Oh
Nice.
Yeah.
Not fair.
Ruined it to $1.6 billion.
After directing and James Earl Jones returning, Disney pulled out all the stops for this photorealistic computer-animated movie. Unfortunately, the estimated $250 to $260 million budget and the vocal talents of a multitude of high-profile actors did not please many. Yes, The Lion King was one of 2019's highest-grossing movies, and it made more than $1.6 billion globally. But it basically rehashed the plot of the original and brought barely anything new to the table.
While others search for what they can take, a true king searches for what he can give.
Meanwhile, the special effects could only do so much when it came to making animal emotions believable. They made everything look more weird than anything else.
Really?
Oh, yes.
Some critics and moviegoers would even go so far to say
Good
it
editing.
insults the legacy of the 1994 flick. Number 8,
It's got like an
replacing Bryan
A
Singer
plus.
with Brett Ratner.
Yeah, people seem to
X-Men:
love
The
that
Last
Cinema
Stand.
score.
Real crowd pleaser.
That will hold me forever.
Thanks to Bryan Singer's direction, X-Men and X-Men United are highly regarded films in the franchise. However, Singer wasn't able to direct the third
There's gonna be like
X-Men
5
film because
X-Men
he was
movies
busy
on
with
this list.
Superman Returns.
Must be tough coming back. I'm coming back? To work. Yeah.
After he left the production, Matthew Vaughn was signed to direct, but personal reasons caused him to back out before filming. Brett Ratner then took over, and the quality of the franchise took what's agreed upon by many fans as an immediate downturn.
I'm the janitor, bitch!
Further adding to this film's woes, because of studio interference, the Phoenix storyline, which had been built up over the previous 2 films, was greatly diminished to make room for a new plot about developing a cure for mutants, ultimately leaving an unsatisfying ending to the original trilogy.
Don't worry. They fixed it with Dark
Number
Phoenix.
7,
Oh,
shoehorning in
they
stuff
did.
for an expanded universe. The Mummy.
I would like, if I may, this morning, to tell you a story.
Trying to replicate the success of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Universal had ambitious plans to build their own dark universe, which would incorporate classic villains such as Dr. Jekyll, Frankenstein, and the Invisible Man.
My name is Jekyll. Dr. Henry Jekyll.
The 2017 version of
I
the movie
love
was
Tom
supposed to
Cruise.
kick off the dark universe and set the plan in motion.
Just get us another
However, the film spent so much time trying to build a cinematic universe that it forgot to put in effort where it most mattered, the actual movie.
It's not exact science, this business.
When the money failed to deliver at the box office, Universal had to pull the plug on the entire project.
Recognize, contain, examine, destroy.
Number 6.
What a fascinating
Squeezing in too
failure
many
that
villains.
was.
Spider-Man
Yeah,
3.
considering how big they
I
announced
want
it.
to kill the spider. You want to kill the spider. Together, he doesn't stand a chance.
Besides emo Peter, the most common complaint of Spider-Man 3 is its lack of focus regarding villains.
Whatever. Aldo Jones is named Emo Peter. Just shit.
Originally,
He's
director
mean
Sam
now.
Raimi didn't want to include Venom in the third film, on account of the character's lack of humanity.
So he
Instead,
cast
he just
Topher
wanted
Grace.
Sandman to
Right.
be the main villain that Spider-Man fought. However, the producers pressured Raimi into including Venom because of the character's popularity.
We can find a way to settle this. You're so right. I'm thinking humiliation.
The end result was a juggling act between Venom, Harry Osborn as the new Goblin, and the Sandman that came off as painfully uneven. As this film and other superhero movies have learned the hard way, when it comes to villains, less is often
Yeah, this
more.
franchise needed to be like 5 movies.
My God,
Yeah, it did.
Eddie. Ooh, my spider sense is tingling. If you know what I'm talking about.
Number 5. Most celebrity cameos. Zoolander 2.
You can't kill us all. We will protect the chosen one.
One of the highlights from the original Zoolander was the many memorable celebrity cameos. To recapture the same magic of the first film, Zoolander 2 crammed in even
I haven't
more
seen this
familiar
movie, but that
faces,
looked
with
really
everyone from
funny.
Benedict
I'll
Cumberbatch
give it to you.
identified by a gender, to
Silly,
Neil
but
deGrasse Tyson dropping some scientific knowledge.
That's what I do. I'm Neil deGrasse Tyson, bitch.
While some of these cameos worked, many of them dragged the film down.
Hey, Katie. Yeah, it's like, when will we find out who we really are?
Everyone agreed that Zoolander 2 wasn't as good as the first, and the movie ended up grossing only a little more than its budget. Unfortunately, celebrity cameos don't automatically translate to laughs or ticket sales.
One of my scenes has to do with the death of Justin Bieber.
Number 4. Switching from Tim Burton to Joel Schumacher. Batman Forever.
That was funny.
You're saying it. This guy's a
Maybe.
Unhappy with Batman Returns underperforming at the box office, studio executives at Warner Brothers decided to replace Tim Burton. This was seen as a move to tone down on the violence that was found in Burton's Batman films, and make something that wasn't as dark.
I'd like to fill her void.
Joel Schumacher was brought in to direct Batman Forever. The end result was certainly lighter, but it tipped the scales to the point of being full-blown camp.
Batman, you say? Coming for you!
Everything from the sets to the acting was outlandish, and these issues only got worse with the next film in the series, Batman and Robin.
I am your new cellmate. And I've come to make your life a living hell.
The franchise essentially collapsed under the weight of its own silliness.
The ice. I'll get the ice man.
Number 3. CGI suit. Green Lantern. To be fair, there probably was no single factor that derailed this film. Its failure was the cumulative result of many bad decisions.
You should
But
have
without
said
a
that
doubt,
with
one of the biggest
all the
criticisms
movies.
is
you've
that
done.
it's CGI rather than spandex or leather.
Ah, green.
Whoa.
Wow. I know, right?
Damn.
The CGI effects
Taika.
were overused and unconvincing. In interviews, Green Lantern star Ryan Reynolds said he hated the CGI suit, in part because he reportedly didn't even know what he would look like as the Green Lantern until the movie's premiere.
Not bad, huh?
The infamous suit would later become a punchline in Reynolds' next major superhero outing, 2016's Deadpool.
And please don't make the super suit green. Or animated.
Number 2, Subverting All Expectations. Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi.
Foolish child. He ignites it. and kills his true enemy.
Sure, Star Wars has made mistakes in the past, such as George Lucas's decision to introduce Anakin Skywalker as a little boy in Phantom Menace, or create a character as insufferable as Jar Jar Binks.
The queens are being grossly nice, Mr. Jinx.
So excited to talk about The Last Jedi
Director
again.
Rian Johnson's
Yay.
radical approach, The Last Jedi may have crossed an even bigger line.
Nah.
Fans waited 2 years after The Force Awakens to see how the storylines J.J. Abrams set up would be resolved. However, The Last Jedi director Rian Johnson essentially tore down or dismissed much of what J.J. Abrams established.
Threw it out.
Many fans were not happy with these resolutions, and as such, The Last Jedi is largely seen as the most polarizing Star Wars entry.
I feel something.
You feel it?
Yes, I feel it.
That's the Force.
Really?
Wow, it must be really strong
Oh,
with
I've
you.
never felt it. Ow!
Before we unveil our number one pick, here are some dishonorable mentions.
I'm the idiot who left. But I'm back now. And I'm gonna make things right.
You really think that they care about us?
General
You know how
Rita
they've used
Ray.
Ben.
Yeah. Wig.
I do.
You and I have got a release date. We've got to make it, okay? So I don't care how you do it. I'm asking you. Come on, can you help me? Just get him to do that. Him to do that. It's a machine. I know, but it's a man inside a machine. Well, that's a man inside a machine.
Before
Commissioner
we continue,
Gordon and
be sure to
Batman.
subscribe to our
Yeah.
channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest
commercials from
videos.
Nick Fury.
You'll have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go
video
into your
done?
settings and switch on notifications.
No, we still got number one.
Oh.
Number 1, making it a trilogy, The Hobbit franchise.
Don't underestimate the evil of God.
That's fair.
With his adaptation of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, Peter Jackson was hailed as one of the most visionary filmmakers of his generation. Unfortunately, when he decided to adapt The Hobbit as a trilogy, his final product was not nearly as well received. Simply put, the 1937 Tolkien story was not an epic trilogy, but rather a short novel, and had no business being adapted into 3 separate films.
Says you.
And Topher Grace.
To stretch the source material out, Jackson had to pad scenes by adding in stories from other Tolkien works. Although there are fans who like the Hobbit movies, the overall reaction is more mixed.
It's no fair. It's no fair. Who's against the wolves?
Do you agree with our picks? Let us know in the comments. And hey, if you're a fan of the song playing right now, be sure to check out the music video for it right here.
Stop this.
I'm sorry.
What the hell are you doing?
It's a body reaction.
Be a man.
Okay.
Sit still in the corner with your arms closed and buy the girl a drink so she can grind up on you.
I was gonna try, and then I realized it wouldn't ring true.
Well, I don't disagree with the list.
No.
I don't know which one decision ruined the whole movie. Like the Hobbit one, I can get on board with it. I know there's a lot of things that plague the production of it, but I think the number one complaint about that film is the fact that they decided to overextend its material.
Yeah.
So I'm in agreement on that. I think, you know, a lot of us who had heard that Del Toro wanted to make a 2-parter, that sounded great. And I still wish that one day they'll reboot it and do that.
Yeah. Well, and to think that if this had been one movie, it would have been less of an undertaking for Peter Jackson to have to jump in at the last minute and actually start to helm.
Yeah.
Does sort of present as like, from the outset, the idea, to make it 3 movies kind of touched every facet of that production and made it problematic.
Yeah. The thing with Fantastic Four, I know it's just an honorable mention. However, I think the decision to make the last half suddenly turn into superhero film was a major problem with that movie. I remember when I showed John this film, I forgot why I showed it to you. There's some reason we were like prepping for something.
Psychological torture.
I literally cut the experience in half. I showed him the first half because there's a very definitive point where they do a time jump, and then you're like, okay, we're in a completely different movie. And so I cut it right before there, and then we just continued it the next day. And that first half, I think, is cool. It's like a body horror movie. It's building up to something. I mean, there's some like stupid science shit that they say in there that doesn't really make sense.
A little bit,
but still, whatever. It's fine.
It's working up until that point.
Yeah. Then when it gets all spooky and stuff, and then the last half of that is where they lost it all. So I feel like that for this question or the statement of a decision
that tanked a movie, yeah.
I think that decision to segue it as quickly as you can into a superhero tale is what ruined that movie, because I'd be interested to see the full-on committed portrait of a body horror Fantastic Four movie, because I was on board for it when it was going down.
Release the Trank cut!
Doesn't exist, John.
No, he said it on Twitter. He 6 months ago had a cut that would have been amazing.
And he keeps releasing footage of it. I cannot agree with The Lion King.
Yeah, I feel like that could have worked. I just think that they didn't quite pitch it right. And also, yeah, like half the world adores this movie.
Yeah.
I hardly think that's a legitimately tankable offense.
I mean, I don't think a Rotten Tomatoes score from a few hundred critics outweighs the thousands that get to vote for an audience score and a cinema score and the box office. Like, those drastically outweigh whatever the few hundred critics have to say, because I mean, you and I were both like kind of on the same page about that movie, that we felt it a little hollow. Yeah. While there's a lot to admire, it's not. I'm on board. I agree with all the criticisms. I do, but I can't be here saying like, yeah, it ruined the movie, because people love the movie.
Yeah, and it's not an experiment I think they should never have tried or something. And while I think it is a legitimate gripe to say that it doesn't bring anything, quote, new to The Lion King, part of what I wanted or expected was just that it hits the same rough experience with its new tech. So yeah, it's not a complete landing, but I hardly think that decision demolished that movie for any reason. There's so much impressive work on display still, you know?
When did this video come out? October 2019? You know, Dark Phoenix, I think, deserves to be on this list more than X-Men The Last Stand.
Oh, really?
Oh, hands down.
Let's hear it. Hot take me.
Easily, man. What do you mean hot take? Dark Phoenix is the lowest reviewed one in the whole franchise. Last Stand, I think, is the most disappointing because it came right after X2. We didn't know how long the franchise would go. This was still kind of pitched as the final film in the trilogy, and to this day we haven't had like an X-Men 4.
Yeah, we just had a bunch of subtitle X-Men.
Yeah, or spin-offs or whatever. This one was like, yeah, it was the most disappointing, but I think Dark Phoenix, I'd argue more for having the guy who The Last Stand have his directorial debut be the Dark Phoenix storyline again, give him a second shot. I had hope and faith because that's all I could operate off of. I also totally got what everyone was saying with, maybe we shouldn't get the same guy to do this movie.
People seemed really opposed to Simon Kinberg helming that movie. From a sentimental point of view, I feel like if this X-Men 3 was supposed to have Dark Phoenix be its focus and then got retooled to the mutant cure scenario, I'm not 100% against the idea of like, yeah, take a crack at it and make your complete take at the same time. I feel like the true bad decision of that movie was to go, let's just do this in one movie.
Right. Yeah. They said this movie is on the list because it's replacing Bryan Singer. So I'm taking this from a director standpoint. Back then, I mean, Brett Ratner didn't have some signature style, but he was making good movies. He's made Red Dragon, which was good, in the Rush Hour films. Both these guys are awful humans, right? Yeah. Bryan Singer and Brett Ratner.
Yes.
However, at the time, Brett Ratner at least had experience directing.
True that.
So was it a good decision? Definitely not. But what's a worse decision if you're going to include 2 X-Men movies on here? I think Dark Phoenix was the worst decision. However, he did have a lot of experience. He's produced all the X-Men films, had a writing credit in a lot of them. Maybe it was a chance for him to redeem himself and learn from his mistakes. So maybe it wasn't the worst decision.
I could see how that decision could have seemed like an all right one, whereas like plugging Brett Ratner in is little to me like, huh? He's gonna make the next X-Men movie? And I think that's also maybe unfair because I don't know how much sway he had over the story. And I feel like the big issue of X-Men 3 is that decision to have the mutant cure story. I feel like that's what pissed people off the most aside from slighting Dark Phoenix.
I can't wait for 20 years from now when we're talking about Tom Cruise's The Mummy.
Oh, it's a classic.
That is such a fascinating thing that we all saw unfold.
And Johnny Depp's Invisible Man and Javier Bardem's Frankenstein and Angelina
They're all shot.
They're all shot.
Release the Dark Universe cut.
Release the Alex Kurtzman cut or whoever was helming this. Yeah, I feel like that's a good call because it seemed to tank their entire thing that they just went so gung-ho and they were like, people want and are on board for this. Dark Universe, we're not even going to try it out first. Our first trial with Dracula Untold was not successful, but hey, let's just go for it.
It's like a restaurant that a bunch of celebrities throw so much money in to promote, and then they have this big grand opening, and they shut it down in like a month. You know?
If Planet Hollywood was just a complete failure.
That's what this feels like. A whole bunch of famous people were like, we're in.
Yeah, I remember that Entertainment Weekly had a two-page spread with the whole cast. They're like, this is the future. We got filmmakers lined up. The next one is Invisible Bride of Frankenstein, and it's beautiful. I love it.
And that's why she did Maleficent too.
Look out now.
I can't speak on Zoolander 2. All I know is that Justin Bieber thing looked pretty funny to me. I mean, Zoolander's whatever. I mean, just too many celebrity cameos. I bet there was more that plagued that movie.
I don't think that was what tanked that movie.
Yeah. Switching from Tim Burton to Joel Schumacher. Yeah. I think I'm bored with that. It seemed like Joel Schumacher, what he did was more in service for what the studio wanted to take it to. Batman Returns, as seen evident by a minor moment here, it's a very dark movie, not for children. I love that film, though. I don't like Batman Forever. I have a hard time sitting through that film. It's very annoying.
Okay.
Batman and Robin, I kind of enjoy Batman
and
more
Robin
because it's just so awful that I enjoy it.
And you have the primer of Batman Forever to come off.
But Batman Forever is just annoying.
Yeah, but that begs the question of, was it Joel Schumacher's fault? Was it his version of their studio note of this is what they want, or would it have been this way regardless?
I don't know. I have a hot take.
Oh.
I do not like Jim Carrey as the Riddler. That bit only works if you shut the door.
I shut it on my way back, right?
I feel like maybe Jim Carrey's Riddler was good for back then.
People didn't seem as anal about the accuracy of the depictions. Because I've heard
it's not even about that. I just think he's so annoying, and I watched it again. I think last year, and I hated it. Like, he's not funny in it. He's just loud and annoying. He's not a character to me. He's
Jim Carrey with no filter. It's like, entertain whatever whim you want, Jim.
Yeah.
Just kind of say the dialogue.
I mean, there's a lot of things wrong with that movie. I mean, I don't like Tommy Lee Jones in it either. I see why people like his Riddler. I do. I personally, I'm so irritated when I watch it.
Maybe that's what's more palatable about Batman and Robin is that Poison Ivy and Mr. Freeze and Bane are more palatable and enjoyable to watch than the Riddler and Two-Face.
Yeah, sure.
In that universe.
Hey, Star Wars The Last Jedi. Just so we don't have to talk about this anymore. Okay, fine, you win. I agree with everything you guys say. Film sucks. It's not a good movie. I hate it.
I think what ruined it, maybe not having a 3-movie plan first. That's what ruined it. If anything,
maybe
ruined
not
it all.
Queuing in Ryan Johnson on some of these mysteries of what the answers really are.
Maybe reading the room a little bit.
What ruined it was them not understanding lore and Disney just being like, we want to make money. Maybe we'll get some clout with being like, hey, creative filmmakers, step in. Whoopsie. Can we get JJ back in here to fix this for us? Whoa, Lord and Miller, what are you doing? Oh my god, do you not see what happened with Last Jedi when we just let him take the reins? Can we get Ron Howard in here?
The Last Jedis and the Batman v Supermans of the world make me fear for when big studios are like, no, we're going to put our faith in a creative. And I'm like, that guy's got a lot of talent. But sometimes I guess you got to be conscientious about how you do that because...
Hey, I mean, Joker nailed it.
Yeah, I know, and that's the alchemy there.
I mean, you
tricky.
You could do something different. I just think when you go against what has been established, I don't care anymore. Let's
Yeah,
just
me
watch
neither.
Rise of Skywalker and move on with our lives.
It'll be fine.
And then watch the 10 other Star Wars things they throw at us.
There will be good Star Wars again in the future of some variety.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for being here. Hey, Star Wars. You guys can subscribe to WatchMojo.com. You can subscribe to The Real Rejects. Click notification bells for us. And Andrew Hayes, thanks so much, dude. Andrew, I wanted to point something out to you. You're not one of those people who doesn't message me back on Patreon.
Ooh.
You do message me back.
Twist.
But what I noticed is I'll sometimes ask you questions and you just flat out don't answer or respond with a message back to those questions and instead say something else. And if you want to be a better communicator, you gotta, respond to things someone is saying.
You can't just change the subject.
This isn't even just some like verbal, we're on the phone or this is, you read it.
Stop avoiding.
And then you type, but you're like, I don't want to
confront things
tell
head
Greg
on.
what I thought of the Joker, even though I asked him what he thought of the Joker. Why are you being this way?
He's collecting research on people's feelings about the Joker. It's not about Andrew at all.
Okay.
It's okay. It's okay. Your opinion matters, and that's what counts.
Yeah.
Andrew's here for you.
I used to think my opinion mattered, then Andrew didn't touch me back.
Andrew loves you, and that's all that really matters. I mean, you just got to remind yourself of that. And hey, he's a busy guy, but you're his one.
I don't know how busy he can be. Sits around all day touching himself to Real Rejects videos. I don't know how busy he can be.
We upload a few times a day, plus on Patreon and stuff. All those TV show watch-alongs and the other cuts with the
reaction highlights.
And there's the reaction highlights.
And
That's
we
like
have those,
two
like
videos.
weekly Q&As.
Weekly Q&As. I mean, the
And then you do,
music
like, the
videos
music video
that I do
reactions.
sometimes,
Yeah.
and then like the other things like pictures or behind-the-scenes stuff, our lens stories, our Stardust reactions, all those different movies we've been posting 30-second reactions to, and if you follow us first, that's how the app knows that we sent you, so do that.
Or maybe like how when we worked with Coinmaster.
Oh yeah, Coinmaster. Download the game, find the Star Wars Jedi Survival Wars trailer reaction, and download the app there and get yourself some free stuff. Buy a Ridge wallet. Love the Ridge. Ridge.com/rejectnation, I think. We got more sponsors. Dashlane. Go download Dashlane. Love the Dashlane.
That's how the bit works.
Oh. I get it now.